Hey everybody, welcome to the very next As Tuesday. This is the one that was pushed back to the next week because we had Thanksgiving week just this last week. So I hope everybody enjoyed your Thanksgiving holidays. I had a good Thanksgiving too. So right now I'm pulling up the questions. So and we only had a couple of questions from the last week, so I'm just going to recap on those questions that I was supposed to make a video. So first question is from someone named Sapphire915, and they said, I want, what kind of fabric was used? Now they're talking about the garment that I did when I did the, what's it called, the see-through. Okay, so they were asking questions about this shirt that I did on a video not too long ago. It's basically a see-through yoke on the top. I have a see-through neckband on it also, and then the bottom part is opaque, and it's just a knit fabric basically. And it has a decent amount of stretch to it because I could get into it with no problem. So I had a decent amount of stretch to it. It wasn't too tight. It is my dress form size, if that tells you something. But excuse me. Anywho, it was really simple to make. I actually like doing knit garments better on my time-lapse tutorial because they're more simple. I don't have to be super detailed on the patterns in order for them to come out right because they stretch and they still look nice. They don't look worse than the woven garments even though they're easier. So anywho, like I said, this is a mesh. It's just a stretch mesh on top, and I just serged it just like I did the bottom part. It's just a serge. So there's nothing special. I don't even think you can see that one. Can you see it now? Maybe not. Oh well. Anywho, I just serged the entire thing. That's the other thing that I love about making knit garments, because the serging, it's not as fast as sewing, but because of the work that I have to do just to get it to this point, it's much quicker. And I'm done. So yeah. You can just go find you a nice knit that stretches and a nice stretch mesh. And also understand too that I think a lot of times they call the fabric that you use to make jerseys for like basketball jerseys and stuff. I think they call that mesh too, the one with the holes in it. And it's like hole every so often, so it'll be fabric like this, and you'll see the holes coming through it. But they call that mesh too, but that mesh doesn't stretch. So anyway, this is a different mesh. The holes, the space in between the fabric is much smaller. So hopefully you can see that. I hope that shows up well. This camera kind of does well sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. So anywho, see options. In focus. Or maybe we're not in focus. Maybe that's what it is. There we go. Bam. HD. Okay. So, there you go. So yeah, next question. Okay. Now this next person, it says random person number 64, and they say, hi, I want to make a bigger size. Could you do a tutorial on that? Thank you. Now, Mr. or Mrs. Random Person, this question actually was on my boxer brief tutorial video, and they were saying about making a bigger size boxer brief. You can. The simpler answer for that would be, if you have some extra change, just go buy a pair that fits the size that you wanted. And I don't know if these are for you or for someone else that you're making them for, whatever. The easiest and quickest way to get the size that you need would be to go buy a pair and cut them up and make the pattern. And I think I even did a video one time. Yeah, I did another boxer brief video not too long ago, a couple months ago. And in it, I was telling you how not to just cut on the seam lines that are already there, but how to create new seam lines. So you can make new, a new design basically. So from looking at those two videos, if you just go buy a pair and then get you a black marker and draw where you want the seam lines and everything, you can make your own pair of boxers or for someone else in the size that you need them, because the only other option that there is to make a bigger size is to do grading. And grading is basically cutting it into smaller pieces or more manageable pieces, so that you can increase the size. And then the simplest form of that would be just to cut each piece down the middle and then to expand it a little. Like to take a measurement of the body and to find out what's the difference in the body measurement and the circumference of the underwear or whatever at certain points. So maybe like you'll take a measurement around the thigh, you'll take a measurement around the hip area, which is complete front and back. Just take a full circumference measurement of that. And to take that and kind of compare the measurements and see how much do you need to increase. Do you need to increase an inch or 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever. And then to cut, the pattern down the different middles and then increase it a little bit so that the pattern will be even all the way across. And one side will be bigger than the other side, but you'll still be able to get the size increase that you need. But that's tricky. You really have to be like an intermediate to advanced pattern maker / seamstress, because if you know what you're looking at, you can kind of wing it and figure it out. But you could go through a lot of trouble trying to figure it out, and you may learn some stuff, but you still might not get it done in the time period that you need it. So I would suggest the simplest thing to just go buy a pair of underwear. If you need different seam lines, to draw the seam lines on and cut on those new seam lines, and if not, to just cut the seam lines that are there, and bam, you got a new pair of underwear. Just cut the new thing and sew it, and you're done, or serge it, and you're done. But yeah, grading is so difficult, so I hope I answered that well for you. My next question is from LouisVuittonPrince. And this person says, will the fisheye darts work on menswear to take in room in the back? And they're asking a question from the second tips of the week video that I did, where I was showing how to remove some of that extra that you have right at the back in the waist area that you get sometimes when you're developing a new torso pattern, or sometimes even when you sew up an old pattern that you got from the store or something. You might find out that either on you or on the dress form or something, it has this extra room at the back. And what do you do with that? And the main thing that I came up with was just taking the darts some. And that was the easiest. So he was asking, can you use darts on menswear? Yes. It's still clothing. And besides that, from a fashion sense, menswear has darts in it. It does. Even though most menswear is just square shaped, and that's gross. But and not gross, but just it's not fitted, and it's not, I guess, as sexually enticing as a woman's clothing, which makes women's clothing more interesting because you can fit women's clothing this way, and you can make these big balloony shapes on the other sides, and this and this and that, so whatever. But women's clothing is more interesting to work with, because you have a wider spectrum of styles and silhouettes that you can work with. Menswear, it's pretty much, it's a shirt and it's pants or shorts or ties, or, it's like, what else can you do with a shirt? I mean, and you can do so much, but what is he gonna wear? That's the important part. Because you can be as inventive as you want to be, but it's one thing to have like women's couture and have all these crazy garments, and then someone like Lady Gaga would pull it off. But who's the guy person of Lady Gaga? And there's only one Lady Gaga. Then Nicki Minaj wears a lot of crazy stuff too, and Katy Perry wears some crazy stuff too. But after that, I mean, who do you have that's gonna wear all these crazy garments that look crazy? And then besides that, you have people that'll buy that, and then even some of the more extremely detailed couture garments that you have movie stars and people who have the funds to be able to buy that stuff. But as far as menswear, I don't know personally, because I haven't looked, because there might be. I don't know of any men menswear couturiers. And so that tells you one thing right there, that either men won't spend that much money, or they don't feel comfortable with the amount of detail, or both. I'm sure there are some men out there that would wear them, some well-to-do men that would purchase garments that were of couture standard. But it's, like I said, it's, I think the most couture that menswear has is in the tailor-made suits. And I think that's about as high up on the chain as you're going to get. Not to say that there isn't the possibility, but, whatever. Anyway, that's a long answer to basically say yes, you can put fisheye darts in menswear. They're in dress shirts, they're in blazers and suit jackets, and I even think there are darts in men's pants, because men still, even though in some cultures they still don't want their garments too closely fitting, in other cultures, and even becoming more so nowadays, men are becoming more subconscious of their appearance. So they do want to show off if they have a nice butt. They want to show it off. If they got some nice stuff going on in the front area, they might want to show that off. If they have a nice chest or nice arms, they want their stuff to fit more like a woman's garments show off her assets. The guy may want to do the same thing. Because they see the attention that women get, and they see the attention that gay guys get. And so, you see how women react to gay guys, And so guys who work out a lot also, they see the attention that guys who work out a lot get, So, anywho, off of that, yes, fisheye darts and menswear. Next question. These are two questions that I just got not too long ago. So I am going to go ahead and answer these really quickly. What is my time? It's like, I'm at 11 minutes, maybe a little more than that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and answer these as quickly as possible. Okay, this one is from DolphinsChild62, and I answered this question also on the comments page where you left the question. And it says, hi Chris, I have a brand new serger. I didn't get to go to my free classes due to family deaths. Oh, I'm sorry about your deaths and your family. And then it says, I saw you have videos. Which video do you have to help a beginner serger like me? I look forward to going through your videos. Thank you for your time, Sandy. So, you're very welcome, Sandy. Right now for sergers, I don't know a whole lot about sergers, even though I've had my serger for a very long time, for some years now. I don't really do much with it, because just as wonderful as a serger is to work with and how well it does, a serger is a little different than a regular sewing machine, and I'm sure you can tell because you see the 4 threads that are going into it. And not only do those 4 threads spell opportunity, but they also spell difficulty. And the more you start to mess with things on the serger, the more complicated it can get. So I really try to just leave the serger like it is. Once I get it threaded, because I'm good at threading it and figuring out the tension and different things, which is cool. And then I even mess with the, I forget what it's called. It's not continuous feed, but it's like the variable stitch length or something like that. And it helps you gather or what else? Or make lettuce edges on the edges of garments, or depending on the way you're sewing it to another piece of fabric, it'll help you do that. And so that I mess with just depending on what I'm sewing and what I need to achieve at the moment. But other than that, I don't really do anything else with my serger. I don't try to, do these different crazy stitches or this and this and that. I just leave it like it is. There's less problems. So anyway, I have 2 videos for sergers. I have one about changing the threads after you get it threaded, and then I have one to show you how to thread it. So that's about it. And a lot of people think it's okay. So go and watch it and see what you think, and hopefully it'll help you too. Last question is from, who is it from? I think this is from the Dragon, was it Dragon Lord 0666? I don't like saying those numbers, but that's what their thing is, so whatever. But anywho, next question is from them. And, what happened? So they say, "Hi Chris, my t-shirt is coming out pretty good. I'll post pics when, I'm done." I hate it when this thing shows up funny. Anyway, did you go to fashion school, and did you have to make a portfolio, and how did you do it? Maybe it could be on one of those question videos. Thanks, kid. Whew. I'm hoping this is the question video you mean. I can't think of any other one that I have. But anyway, so yes, I did go to fashion school. I knew quite a bit before I went, because I'm one of those people that I'll start if it's something that I really, really want to do, I'll start doing research on it ahead of time, and I'll start trying to figure out how to do it, because like I wanted to go to fashion school and just start learning, but I couldn't get there when I wanted to go there. So what I ended up doing was just kind of teaching myself and figuring out different ways to do it myself. And then I have a roommate who also helped fill in the gaps, and he taught me all the other stuff that I didn't know and I couldn't figure out on my own when I had questions, because something as big as pattern making and sewing and fashion design, you do kind of need someone who can answer questions and keep you from going in circles, because I went in circles for a very long time trying to figure out how to sew. So anyway, other than that, I have never really put together a professional portfolio, and mainly because I haven't had to. To be extremely honest, fashion is not, and sewing is not my true love, I guess you could call it. I really have a thing for singing and songwriting, to be completely honest. I don't even think I've ever told y'all that, but yeah, fashion is not my first love. Fashion was something secondary that I did because I kind of felt like I couldn't make it in singing, or like nobody wants to hear, a gay guy sing or whatever. But that's, just something that was in my head. But off of that, yeah, so I've never really put together a fashion portfolio. I never really had a strong desire to work for a fashion company. I wanted to learn how to sew really, really bad, and I did. And I taught myself, and like I said, I got other people to help me along the way, and I've helped all of y'all, with all of the stuff that I've learned. So I have a big, gumbo mosh posh of all this fashion knowledge that I have, because I wanted to know, and I think fashion is awesome. But as far as a career, to me, sewing is so tedious, and drawing is tedious, and it takes a long time, and so it's just not something that, I could see myself doing, for the long haul. And fashion is one of those things that a lot of times I'll procrastinate up until the last minute. With singing, it's a lot different. I'll stop what I'm doing to start singing, or I'll be singing when I'm doing something, or I'll be, singing is something that has kind of penetrated every part of my life up until this point, so that's just something that I could see myself doing, and I should have been doing a long time ago, but, now I'm trying to play catch up, so, anywho, thank y'all for watching. That's it for questions. This week we should have a time-lapse tutorial coming up. I have not quite figured out exactly what I'm going to teach, so, I'm thinking, and I should have something within an hour or so that I can put together and do, but I gotta go to work today and a couple other days this week, so, I will be fighting for time. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I will see you guys later. Adios, and I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving. So tell me what you ate for Thanksgiving, please, 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 in the comments. Bye, y'all.